I swear this shit always fucking happens to me. Okay, what is good, you guys? It is Aaliyah back at it again with no pressure, just vibes. And today I got the big little homie. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Mr. Nick, the man, the myth, the legend behind everything. You guys don't even know. Nick be hustling. See, I be trying to hype him up because we was just talking about this. Nick gets overlooked a lot, and I be feeling like I be having to put you on, bro. Like I'm like. Nick is that guy. So if you guys don't know, tap in now. But yes, what is good, you guys? Say what's up to Nick. What's good, bro?
What's up, everybody? Happy to be here and just blessed to be a guest on the podcast and get to chop it with the big homie. Like you said, you know, I've known Aaliyah for a long time. So.
Oh, wow. Did you? Okay, I was thinking about this. You went to Washington, right?
No, I didn't.
Swear to God.
Everyone thinks I did, though.
Where did you go?
I went to Orca, K through 8.
Orca?
I know. It was wild there, though. Ask anybody who went there. Orca. We had the organic kids, but we also had the reject kids. So a lot of people you might not know went to Orca, but
that's wild.
Yeah.
I swear to God, this whole time I was like, nah, this man definitely went to Washington. Why did I? So you went to Orca the whole time?
Yeah, but literally, like, if you ask anybody who knew me since freshman year at Garfield, 10 out of 10 of them will say you went to Washington. I remember you at Washington.
And I'm like, I remember you at Washington, but I guess we was just young. We was just young. Freshman year,
14,
sophomore year, that's a while ago. So 14?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I was 14 when I met you, Tanya, everybody, whole gang.
I'm 24 now. How old are you?
24.
Yeah, see, times is fucking crazy. Times is different, and that shit's just filthy. Like he said, I guess I thought I knew him longer than I did. But
it's all good,
but
though.
It's cool.
Everyone does, though. 10 out of 10, like I said, think I went to Washington Middle School.
No, it'd be like that. So I guess before we get started, I like to start off with, like, how are you feeling?
Okay. I'm feeling great. You know, just came back from a little trip to Oregon. My little cousin plays left tackle at Oregon, Joshua Connerly Jr. Much love to my family. Always putting on for the fam. Went to go see him play. Checked in with him, talked a little bit about the branding stuff we're trying to do with him and his dad, get his merch company right.
For sure.
Everybody tune in. We got some stuff right now, but he's going to have a real brand going. So I'm
For
feeling
real?
good. Yeah.
That's what's up. See, and you guys, what was his like? He was the number one
Number one offensive tackle in the country, Anthony Munoz, Lineman Award winner. First ever, in my knowledge, out of the Pacific Northwest, for sure to be the number one lineman in the country.
Yeah, that guy. He's just that guy.
That guy.
In a short way to say it, he's just that guy. That's what's up. I'm happy you're feeling good just because, you know, like, I just want to create a safe space for when we do start the podcast, you know. Like we were just talking about off the camera, like, people be going through hella shit, you know, and I just want you to be honest and be able to come on and just talk your shit and not feel like I have to put a face on real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you would have been like, I'm just, you know, going through it, it would have been cool. I would have stopped it. Right. We would have, you know, talked it through. But I'm happy that you're in good spirits. You're doing well. So I obviously know you, but if you could, like, just describe yourself, like, talk about what you do, just introduce yourself for the people who don't, and then just, you know, give them a little taste.
Got you. My name's Nicholas Lewis once again, from the Central District of Seattle. Come on. You know, Nicholas is the name my mom bestowed upon me. Was I happy about it at first? Not really. But
you didn't like that name?
Nah, not really. But, you know, I didn't got called Nick at Night, Nickelodeon. My nickname is Nick. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I thought your name was Nick this whole time. I would have never been like Nicholas.
Come on, you know. So
it's giving white. It's giving palm colored folk.
You know. So exactly. My mom always says. My mom and my dad always say that they gave me my full name, so they could never deny me a job interview without knowing what I look like. You know.
Oh, I heard you. I fuck with it. They thought it through.
You know.
Shout out to the parents.
But yeah, so we hailing from the Central District of Seattle, where I was raised. I was born right there on Swedish. You know what I'm saying? So.
You know how the Swedish babies be.
Come on,
group health.
You know, so we was right there with it. I grew up a little bit in South Park when I was really young, but back and forth between there and the CD. And then we moved to Leschi, and not a house though. I ain't rich. My parents ain't rich. Don't get that twisted. We in an apartment. They was, you know, I don't live there no more, but we was in an apartment. You know, my parents, they work hard. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
But we don't got that Leschi money for real.
Yeah, because you said Leschi. I was about to say, damn, that man got the bread for real. That man got the bread.
You know,
so it'd be like that.
We was around to see, you know, wealth, but we wasn't like that. So, just growing up there, I got a big family, a lot of family in the state of Washington, both Eastern and here, and then family a little bit in Canada, a lot in the Bay. So that's really what made me is the Central District for sure. You see,
Come on,
right
yeah.
here.
Shine it out a little bit.
Got to rep it everywhere.
We won't do it right now, but you guys got to check out the whole fit out because,
Got you.
We're not even into it yet. You guys don't even know, about it. You're like, where is this? Is this exclusive? We'll get into it. But go ahead, keep going.
We'll get into it. So, RIP my cousin Quincy Coleman, that's on there too. But that inspired me a lot growing up after we lost him to just, stay motivated, stay hustling, stay out the bullshit. Am I allowed to cuss on here?
No. I'm just kidding. No,
okay.
yeah. No, yeah, for sure. No, yeah. I mean, motherfucker, bitch, whore. Like, all of them. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, you're
cool.
good, bro.
All right, so we're green light then. But no, yeah, so just hailing from the CD and really being in that culture of Seattle really made me, avid Seattle sports fan, everything like that. But growing up in the city really taught me a lot. I think one of the biggest things that me and Ali were talking about off camera is the motivation to be able to drive anywhere and see some wealth, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Pretty much in any area. So that definitely made me too. And for what I do, I started off doing a little bit of like music management unofficially and creative direction. And when I was in school studying marketing, I've lived in Hawaii. I went to school out there, Hawaii Pacific, my first year, then transferred to BC because it was dumb expensive.
Fucking bet. It's more expensive than Seattle.
Whew, fast food was not plugging. So we went out there, came back, and then I stopped doing the unofficial music management. I still creative direct a little bit for people when they need consulting in the space or when I feel like I can help, they feel like I can help. But I really started to get really involved in the business of merchandising and just also in branding in general and trying to take some of the things that I learned in marketing and in school and start to really apply them in real life. Dropped out of BC when I was in LA, my first year out there after my first semester, and never really looked back since. Did about 8 months to 9. I guess the first VISI hoodie we dropped was like April before I moved to LA. So I did about a year and 5 months of just trying to source blanks, garments, getting
you put in that work right after you.
Yeah, pretty
right
much.
After. That's what you got to do, though.
We was on it, and so then I actually in-housed an embroidery machine, and I've been running an embroidery business, Apparel All Stars, on Instagram ever since.
Apparel All Stars right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Go ahead. Shout it all out. Keep going.
Yeah, so, we do Apparel All Stars. That's my embroidery shop. I do private consulting to athletes, artists, and entertainers. My end goal is to be a merchandising consultant. So not only doing the branding side of the business and running a couple of my own brands, Heaven's Battalion, and I co-partner for VISI. My brand was Suhaib Tabuni, my brother.
That guy. So, you out here. This man's out here. I'm learning more stuff about you than I knew because I think we've always known each other for a long time, but you lose connection with people. It's always been good vibes though. It's always been good conversation whenever we see each other, but just kind of hearing your story and hearing everything is just like a lot for me because I think I lost I was out of touch after you left Hawaii. Yeah. Because I remember when you left, it's still fresh, people are fresh out of high school, people are still doing their thing, people are still chopping it up, seeing each other every now and then, but when people are out of town, it gets a little harder. Right. People don't talk as much, but I didn't know you did all of that. Mm-hmm. And so did you finish college at all or you just, I didn't either. So it's cool. But it's really like kind of the best way to do it too. Like, I feel like a lot of people that we went to high school with or just a lot of people we knew growing up, a lot of people who do the shit we do, like just creatives or people who like got their hands in multiple things, they've been dropped out. Yeah. And they're doing well, you know what I'm saying? So like, that shout out to you, and I'm happy for you too. And just learning all this shit is just crazy because this is a lot. I didn't know you did all this shit. Like that was a fast turnaround. I didn't realize that LA and
Hawaii 2 years.
Yeah, was that close to each other. But I guess it's close but far. But like then we started tapping back in. But that's just crazy. I did want to ask just because I had a lot of questions, right? But I'm just trying to let it go, let it flow. So you mentioned a whole lot of brands. Which one was first?
So VISI was first. Me and my partner Suhaib Tabuni, one of my close brothers, he's from Libya. He came back over here at 15. He had lived in California for a little bit when he was a kid too. But I think it was the year after I came back from Hawaii. So about a year and a half after, me and him sat down and I had this whole idea about doing a brand based on color psychology. Yeah. Or kind of around it loosely. Come on. Yeah. And so me and him sat and started cultivating ideas about it. We did our first hoodie drop where we had completely custom packaging and all this stuff. We went like all to the nines on about like 30 hoodies. I think was our first drop, our first units, 30 to 35. Suhaib might be able to double check me. But we did that. And then from there, I moved to LA 2 months after. So I had been back for 2 years from Hawaii working jobs and I was a city lifeguard for Seattle, worked at Starbucks. You feel me? Your boy don't come for money, so we work. You know what I'm saying? You kids that are privileged, you go to work. You know what I'm saying? Don't put it all on your parents.
Get you a job. If you're 16 and you don't got a job right now, you're living.
Come on, you know, if your parents can take care of you, that's cool. Ain't no knock to nobody. But if you out here trying to impersonate something that you not,
for sure,
trying to talk about struggle, like, there ain't no excuses. You know, you kind of got to make it happen. So, you know, and I got a lot of family support. So the love and that kind of support and condition was always there. We're just not well off, you know, so everybody works. So my mom and dad got to go to work. I got to go to work, you know.
For sure. It'd be like that. So you said it's VISI.
Yeah.
After the longest, I was like Visi.
I was that's cool too, though. Yeah. VISI, VISI, we already know because it's an acronym. So it stands for Visually Interpreting Sensory Information.
Yeah.
Interpreting sensory information is the root of perspective, whether it's visual, olfaction, which is smell, audio, you know what I'm saying, taste, feel. We're choosing to interpret sensory information through visual outlets. And so that's what created VISI.
Yes, I was just about to ask you, like, what came up, like, did you just think of that off the brim? Like, you know, because that's what I was going to ask you next. Like, what made you think of that name? Was it just something that, like, you always wanted to do? Like, you knew you wanted to eventually tap in with that? Or you came up with that together?
I got in a really deep hole about color psychology. Yeah. Like, and just, like, how different colors can bring up different feelings in people.
100%.
Yeah. And so I think that was really the root to it. And then once I started to do more research in that and I started to realize, okay, well, this is all a part of perspective.
100%.
And I feel like perspective is something I talk about a lot in my life and a lot of my people talk about, because without the right view, you can have a very clouded lens, you know what I'm saying,
100%.
What's going on around you, whether it's good or bad, you know, it goes both ways. So once I started really getting in that color psychology hole and just doing a lot of research on that, that's what kind of led to just piecing it together. And then our first drop was Hatred, Power, Elegance. So pretty much the idea of it was we had 3 faces on the hoodie that represented each of these emotions and each of these emotions or feelings, because some people might say in the comments or whatever, it's not an emotion. That's true. You know what I'm saying? The feelings or emotions was all inspired by the color black, and that was the blank of the hoodie. And what we wanted to do, which didn't happen, was continue with the series by doing a black hoodie, a purple hoodie, yellow hoodie, etc., and do 3 different faces and a representation of that on each hoodie. And we'll probably bring it back up later. We drove our designer insane because we had.
I bet. I remember when you guys did that. Now that I'm like remembering everything, your guys' packages was like down to the motherfucking T. You did everything. I remember that, and I can like kind of remember what the design looked like, but I know that wasn't no like little shit. Like I bet it's hard going back and forth with someone too, with all that shit. Like you want it to be perfect though. You're pushing out like product that like is gonna reflect you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, don't cut no corners, but I bet.
And we had no wireframing experience. A tip to all young designers, young creatives, to us, we talk about it like make sure you look up how to wireframe a design for your graphic designer. A lot of people don't speak on that, but that makes it way easier for them, which in return makes it way easier for you, because you have like, a better idea of having reference images and your explanations of what you need, very concise. It'll allow them to execute what you're trying to execute versus going back and forth for 3 months. Like, hey, bro, well, I'm trying to interpret this, and I want hatred to look like this. You know what I'm saying? And kind of all that. So.
And it's kind of crazy because Nick talked about like all this stuff just now. Nick put me on with all this game because I'm trying to make shit too, and I'd be like, fuck, there's all this fucking middleman shit, all this fucking stuff. Like, people who really have a brand and who are putting shit out, like, I don't think anyone realizes how much work really comes into it. Absolutely. And how many moving parts, how many people have to be involved, unless, you're a one-man band. Shout out to fucking you. Yeah. Because, like, even though Nick does all this shit, like you're saying, you got to tap into other people to get your shit done. Like, and it's hard, but, like, all this shit he was just saying, all I'm trying to say is, like, Nick put me onto that game. So soak it up, you guys, because Nick be spitting, and it's not like he's a gatekeeper for real. Like, he's really just putting a whole bunch of shit on, and I fuck with it just because I wouldn't have known a lot of shit. Like, I can imagine, like, going to somebody else, and, like, that's another thing. Like, people can just fucking fuck you over. It'd be like,
absolutely. And they will.
No, literally, like, I don't know what it is about Seattle. We talked about it, but, like, it's a lot of weird love, like, out here in the city. Like, you got to find your people who really, like, fuck with you and who, like, support the vision, who see it, because people will get over on you if you give them the opportunity. If you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, or if you're not taking shit seriously and you don't got a good head on your shoulders, people will people will definitely overtake that shit. Absolutely. They do not give a fuck. So, like, definitely, I'm happy that like I have a friend like Nick where I could be like, oh, I have these questions, and I mean, hopefully you don't get annoyed, but I be asking Nick hella fucking shit. I'd be like, Nick, yeah, I want this, but I want it to look like this, and I want this, and if he don't got the answers, he's definitely finding somebody for me. So all that to say, also make sure that the people you're like surrounding yourself with, and like, you know, if you're trying to tap in with this shit, are really like trying to help you out, and you know, like outsource to people who like got you. But yes, back to VISI. So what year was that?
So that was 2019, I believe. We did because 2018 was Hawaii, 2019. So we did it. Actually, no, strike that. We did it April 2020 was the first drop. That was during COVID?
Yeah,
that was during COVID.
He was hustling during COVID. I don't want to have no excuses. During COVID?
That's where it started, yeah.
That was crazy.
So we did those. We did the first little 30-unit drop, like I said, and then I moved to LA. Suhaib stayed, but I moved to LA in July. It's like 3 months after.
And then what was after VISI? What was your next step?
So after VISI, that was what we were pushing a hard line on for a second. We've always been in the position where we start small, try and grow big. So we don't do 100-unit drops, 150-unit drops. Eventually, I'll get to the point where I do it for sure. But a lot of our stuff, especially in the beginning and even still this day, like for all my stuff, is small batch, very small batch. A lot of people don't think so. But like when I say I dropped 24 units or something, it's really 24 units. So when we did that, I moved to LA. We did some ski masks. We did the VISI ski, and that was the first time anybody saw the heart with the hands with the paisleys, which is our most popular design to date. We did those out there, and then I started to think that if I'm going to be in merchandising and I'm going to be in branding, then I need to start creating a personal brand around myself, and really more so what everybody else says about me. You know how I am. I'm like the last person to be like Mr. He-Man, like talked up, like, you know, like gloating. Like, I don't know. It's just against my personality. So a lot of my homies show me love. Thankfully, I have people like Aaliyah and, you know, a lot of my close friends, all my homies, my family that, you know, have always been kind of on me since a little kid about my supposed greatness. And I don't want to say supposed in a bad way, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
talk your shit. It's okay, Nick. You could say it. Like, Nick's that guy. You know, he's trying to be humble with it, but like, talk your shit. Like, it's okay to pump yourself up. You know, you don't got to downplay yourself. Like,
when I hit that Forbes 30 under 30, best believe I'm gonna march through the Central District with 100 cars. We're coming 100 cars deep through the city from north to south. I fuck with everybody. You know, we're coming crazy. But so that was what got me intrigued about starting a personal brand, and that's kind of where the Suave All Stars stuff came from. I got the nickname Nick Suave from somebody I no longer associate with, but it was it was. I'm gonna definitely be honest about that. You know, it's no secret there, but. You know, it came from just my personality of how people think I'm smooth. You know, I'm a real smooth cat, like, you know, quiet and just kind of to myself. I keep it pushing. I'm really loud around my peoples, though. I'm a goofball for sure. 100% I'm a goof. But I got the name from this person and just their thoughts on what I could do around the music space and around the industry. And so I that nickname stuck with all my people, you know, and so I thought about changing it. We're being real honest. This is the real 100% take. You know, we're not going to say anything federal, but like the nickname stuck for real. And I thought for a second about changing the name, but then I thought, how am I going to give that kind of, you know, I guess the power to somebody, even though they might have said the nickname.
That's not.
It encapsulates who I am as a person.
100%.
So.
I'm glad you kept it though, because that's just smooth. It gives very much you. So I'm happy that you didn't let that, whoever this person is,
right?
You know,
let them stop the motion.
Yeah, 100%. I'll be back, guys, because this shit's about to stop. Yep, look at me. We're back. Fucking Sony cameras suck. You can only fucking record for like X amount of time. I know there's a hack. There's some fucking way to get around it, but I don't know how to do it yet. But yeah, so back to what we were talking about. So that's how you got your name. Is that when you started pushing out apparel too? Because did you push a lot of apparel out for that? Because I feel like I only seen like one thing from that.
So I actually had had that name for almost a full year and some change before I had even done my first merch drop, I believe, like before I even did the first VISI hoodies.
Yeah.
It was when I got to LA after we did the VISI ski mask that I decided that I needed to create a personal brand around that, just to have kind of an overarching, you know, like place for people to look and say, okay, this is just related to him personally.
Yeah.
So I did the hats. That was when I did the S-Star hats that
I
everyone fucked with. That was surprising, yeah.
And it was a side pass, right? Or was it on the front too?
The front. It was the S-Star and then Suave was on the side.
Yes.
Yeah. So I did black and I did khaki for those. That was the only Suave All-Stars drop I did, though, until I did the Midnight Rider hoodies that are on my website, apparelall.stars.com.
Tap in right now.
You know, we got Muse Space too, but that's on the Instagram, Nick Suave, 3 E's. Check out the link in the bio. It'll take you to a whole 3D store. We'll talk about that later.
Nick's that guy. Go ahead, keep going.
Thank you. But we did the Midnight Rider hoodies. I did a Friends and Family, about 16 of them. And that's the one with the purple on the back.
Yeah, because I remember hitting you up, like, I was like, did I miss it? Because I was like, I was trying to buy one. I didn't even know you was on your site right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to tap in. Go ahead, keep going.
So it's not available for sale right now, but the drop was just Friends and Family, which you know you're on that F&F list. It's just, in that point when I was in LA, I wanted to make sure that I was trying to keep my losses at a minimum when I was dropping clothes. Some game for the youngins. You don't need 50 to 100 hoodies to start. So I just did that. Like I sourced out the Friends and Family before I even kind of got
started pushing it through.
Yeah, they knew about it as it was going through production, and that was actually a really big learning moment. That was the second biggest learning moment I ever had in clothes, because the manufacturer from Pakistan that I had originally did all my hoodies in polyester instead of cotton.
I remember that. I remember watching you go through that on fucking Instagram. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. So we were beefing, or me, I was beefing because it was just my money.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it was just me. So, we had to get that straight. I ended up having to pay him half of what my original payment was just to get my hoodies produced in cotton and get made. So instead of I sold each of those hoodies for $70.
Yeah.
Instead of making whatever little profit I would have made on those hoodies, I gave both versions of those hoodies to each one of the Friends and Family that had bought them. So they got 2 hoodies instead of 1, and I just took the loss so that it was square business, because I care more about the people who support me. I care 100%. More about them, you know what I'm saying, and that relationship than caring about just getting the sale off and getting the jug off for my clothes. So.
No, for sure. And like once you already put it out there and you say it and it's like it's coming out, there's no like backtracking. There's no just so you know, guys, it fucking was on polyester, so I'm not putting it out no more. Yeah. Like you can't really get discouraged at that point. You can't pull back, because once you put your work out there, once you put it out there, your friends and family know. Like you said, you got to do it. You just got to do it, and you got to follow through. And being a person of your word goes a long way too. Like that's something kind of what I'm trying to work on right now, is just like I get discouraged really easily. Like, obviously, I've been putting off this hat for hella long. What day is it? The 14th. I said, Nick, I want this hat done by fucking the end of November. Like, but, like, shit be hard. So, like, standing on your word goes a long way. But, like, not letting obstacles stop you is, like, really crazy. Because the first drop, it's not your first drop, but, like, your first drop under your own brand, like, you could have easily just ate that and been like, I'm not doing it no more. Yep. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're an established brand and you're like on the rise and you already made stuff. Like you could have easily just stopped, but you kept going. So like that is some crazy game, because that would have been it for me. I would have been like, I don't want to do it no more.
You know what's really crazy too?
What?
The first biggest fuck up ever was on the first drop of VISI hoodies we ever did. The screen printer fucked up, and in one of the eyes on the faces, there was this blue scribble that looked like a 3-year-old took a crayon and just yanked all the designs. So
on all of them?
Literally on every single one of the 30 hoodies, there was blue, like in the eye ringlet where it's white, there was this fucking blue mark that was just super obnoxious.
And you guys had to get those remade? We
had to completely get the hoodies reprinted. Thank God. Shout out to my homies Kyle Joyce and Josh Murray, who had relationships with the printers. They both ran a company called Graphic Elements. Now Josh Murray's head in charge. Salute to Brandon too in operations. But I work with those guys a lot for sourcing screen print for clients and for myself and for my family. Just a quick shout out to them. But thankfully, Josh and Kyle pressed the fuck out of the screen printer for me, so that I didn't act the ass. Always be professional too. Never, flame out on your suppliers, or that won't really get you anywhere. it can make them know you're serious, but at the same time that can spread through other suppliers. So try to do good business and try not to tweak out on people.
For sure.
But thankfully they tweaked out on him for me because they're my dogs, and they made it right, and they got him to take all the hoodies back and re-screen print them. I don't know if he stripped them.
Yeah.
I think he stripped them. And
yeah, because he probably wasn't trying to take no loss on that either.
Yeah.
Fuck. And that kind of like goes back to what we were saying before, where it's like people will get over on you. Like, luckily you got people that like, you know, like support you and are like gonna ride for you, but like that could have been a bigger L. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like people will walk all over you if you give them that opportunity. And it's just like, luckily you have people, but some people don't. So just making sure that like when you are getting your shit done, make room for errors, but also don't take no shit, because that's a lot of fucking money. Like how much was that first job? Just the hoodie, like manufacturing all that stuff alone.
A band? I think me and Suhaib
a fucking band, bro, for 30 pieces. And imagine taking the L.
Packaging and everything,
Yeah, fuck no.
Sticker packs. We did the marble letters and all that. Yeah, that was all. I think a band total was
fuck
like
no.
Cost. Yeah.
See, and it's just like, again, it couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. I would have been like, it's a part of the design.
Right.
Because I'm like, it's a sign. It's a part of the design. But like, when you have a vision and you see it, I know sometimes you just got to execute it. So we had VISI, Suave Apparel All-Stars. So that's the whole name?
Suave All-Stars is the personal branding stuff. Yeah, like the Midnight Rider and the S-Star. And then Apparel All-Stars is the embroidery shop. So
got it.
Pretty much everything is all encompassed by Apparel All-Stars because I do all my own embroidery. Everything on me you'll see is embroidered by me.
Come on.
You know, quick shit talk.
As you should.
But yeah, so pretty much all the brands are encompassed in that.
Yeah.
We don't ever outsource embroidery. I have before I had the machine, but since I got it, I've never outsourced embroidery. But we'll outsource. Excuse me.
You're good. I'd be I'm here.
All of our screen prints. So all of our screen prints outsourced, and we don't fuck with heat press because it's cheap, and we see you big brands use it on $400 items, $900 items, and think you're getting away with it, but it's placement. So.
You know, people be finessing people. I don't blame you. Like
social media placement.
It be like that.
Once you get it on the right person, it blows up. It's crack. It's gonna go where it
100%. Goes. But, the cheapest way, if you are mass producing, I mean, shit, people gonna buy it. When you got that clientele, people gonna buy it. So how did you come up with the name Apparel All Stars?
So that actually came from the mixture of apparel. Obviously, is the business, you know, and me wanting to kind of be a consultant in the space. But it was really just a mashup of that and Suave All-Stars because the All-Stars aspect to me, like a lot of people use that name or they say they're an All-Star. Yeah. Them and their team are All-Stars. But I truly believe like my people around me, both my most immediate friends and family and my partners for real, like, you know what I'm saying, people that I love and care about that I might not see all the time or, you know, stuff like that. I feel like everybody really in my circle who can say they're in my circle, which is not a lot of people, or just that, you know, are cool with me at that level, are all All-Stars. I feel like everybody has that star in them. Now, whether you're working a 9 to 5 right now to get by and you're trying to launch your hustle on the side, you're still an All-Star. I feel like it's in you. It's not about what's on you, you know, and that was a real thing that kind of came from that.
This man, it's real thought through. This isn't no just came out. It's no like, I'm just All-Star. Just All-Star is the name. And you kind of just touched on it real quick, but like you also work a 9 to 5, right?
Yeah, I work too. Yeah.
A fucking hustler, okay? Talk about that because, like, when you were introducing yourself, you didn't even mention that. But that is you, too. You know, like, absolutely. Nick, outside of all your brands, is Nick 9 to 5 as well. So talk about that, Nicholas. Sorry.
Yeah, so I do security graveyard at night to get by. You know what I'm saying? I try to do that. It's weekly pay, so that's cool money. And then I'll also work 1 day a week at a cannabis company out here. I'm not going to give them free clout and disclose the name. But, you know, I don't want people to popping up in my job.
No,
that's the daytime job. So,
no.
You know, but I also work for that company too 1 day a week. And the security thing, we're being honest, the security thing's cool because it's weekly pay, but it's also up and down. Some flex. So I'm trying to switch over to full time just so that I could be in the shop every day.
Yeah, like consistent income and you know what you're getting in. And
yeah, because it's hard to get apartments and like that, like when you're running your own businesses.
I bet.
You already know how it is, especially now they're trying to tell you, you know, you got to prove you make double, 3 times, 4 times the rent.
So fucking extra.
Yeah, very skewed in our city for fintech employees, to be bluntly honest. It's very Microsoft, Facebook friendly.
Everywhere,
you know what I'm saying? Pretty every apartment is kind of blacklisting you if you don't have like real salary verification.
Dead ass.
But doing that, I scrape by just to get by in that time, and I build up my embroidery shop as I go. So I always say that my main job is the embroidery and running the shop and trying to get more clients in and, doing more work that way. And then my part-time jobs are those. It's looking like in the next 3 months, I'm not going to speak too much on it. So, hopefully it can come to fruition. So when this interview drops there.
Yeah, for sure. Manifest that shit.
Yeah, but we might have a real storefront, a real partnership kind of going on, and 7 to 10 embroidery machines versus 1 going into 2023. So hopefully everything can work out with that. We're going to speak good on it. And at that point, I'll quit both those other weak-ass jobs and and be full-time embroidery again.
No, I feel you. Because, I think that's what a lot of people don't see behind the scenes. Like, there's a lot of big brands where people are really out here working a 9 to 5. Basics, who are other people, like, I don't know, there's hella people. Like, I can't think of it off the dome. Like, everybody is working, So, like, how do you, like, deal with that? Like, how do you not get burnt out? How do you find time to, like, really, make sure that your priorities are straight to get that done? And, like, how do you not burn out, honestly?
I would say, one, smoking marijuana helps me personally.
Hey, shit, do what you got to do.
You definitely don't want to be reliant upon it. I'm definitely not the messenger who wants to say, oh, yeah, when your problems get tough, pick up the blunt, because essentially you're not really dealing or coping with whatever you're going through. You're kind of just using the plant and the medicine to mask it.
Yeah, 100%.
So I got really good at doing, like, Headspace, which is a meditation app, a guided meditation app, managing anxiety, anger, all these different things. I've never really had anger issues, but like just in general, feeling angry when you're frustrated and stuck in a situation or stuck in a rut, when you're going through it. So, but definitely the plant helps me a lot on top of the meditation. So actually get right with yourself first. Try and like acknowledge what makes you feel the ways you feel when it starts. And once you can have a solid foundation on that, then I would recommend, maybe not, I'm an advocate for cannabis, but I would say that then you're good to smoke on top of that to help kind of take away your problems. But if you don't do the real groundwork and the foundation work, the weed's not going to do shit to help you, but just masking it. So, but really, the meditation, I rely on family. Sometimes I have breakdowns, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like real breakdowns. Yeah, in front of my close friends or my real family. And that kind of always resets me, having that safe space. People say don't cry and all that shit. Like, I don't care who the fuck you are. You cry, 100%. Bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I witnessed a lot of people pass growing up. Like, I had a lot of death in my family. So my tears ran out for a very long time. Yeah. But you always, especially as you get older, you kind of find things that are just going to strike you, and you kind of got to let it off your chest. But really just trying to find healthy ways to cope, relying on my friends, all those kind of things are really what I try and do to keep a strong base and foundation. And then just also knowing, and this is the last thing I'll say about that, but also just knowing that the day you plant the seed is not the day you reap the fruit, and if that's your mindset, you don't need to be in nothing that takes a long time, because you're going to have to have the idea, have the vision, have all those things you're trying to do, and then try and push that forward, you know what I'm saying, and really be okay with struggling and doing whatever you got to do for a very long time. People don't know Meek Mill, Rick Ross rapped 8-10 years before they blew up,
Talk about it.
A lot of clothing brands that are really doing real numbers outside the city of Seattle, or just in general, anywhere you are 5 to 6 to 7 years in the game, before they even blow up. So kind of just knowing that, like, you might have to do shit you don't want to do. I don't want to work 2 part-time jobs, but you might just have to do some shit you don't want to do and feel a way you don't want to feel for a while until you finally get a big win, or it starts to get some traction.
No, for sure. That's kind of just like my next questions was like, like you're kind of dropping little gems and advice, but like what other advice would you give to anyone who's really just like trying to start their shit and like they're getting discouraged and they feel like they're not making no moves or not making no strides? Like, what would you say to like little you, or just someone who, is in the same position you were like 4 years ago, 2 years ago?
The first thing I would say is take 10 deep breaths immediately. Like, really sit down, because people say that, but people don't really do it.
No, they'll be like,
quick ones. So really sit down, take 10 deep breaths, when you're thinking about all this stuff in front of you, because there's going to be a lot of things that you will not expect that life are going to throw at you 100%. That you couldn't guess, in a million years, both good things and bad things. every really big room I've ever been in, and I've been blessed to be in some pretty big rooms that I've talked to Aaliyah about off camera.
Yeah.
We might not talk about in this interview or save for later. We might,
Yeah.
whatever, whichever. But being in those situations, there was a lot of things that I couldn't see, both negative and positive. And so taking those 10 deep breaths and just understanding that you're going to move in the unknown and you have to get comfortable with it is definitely number one. Number two, not dragging it too on, would just be to find a solid team. And that doesn't mean
100%.
the people who are doing what you're doing specifically. That could even just mean the homies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But be around people that motivate you, whether, they run their own business or they're going to school trying to become a doctor or a lawyer. There's still nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to run a clothing brand. You don't have to be famous and pop in to live a good life, you know what I mean, and make a real difference in the world. But surround yourself with people who are on a path that you can see, that is in a positive light, because the fastest way to crash out is to hang around crash dummies, you know what I mean?
100%.
And be around people who don't have that. So.
And I will preach that to the day I fucking die. Like, the people you are around, I believe in the statement, birds of a feather flock together.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's just old people term. I swear I've said this before, but like,
it applies.
Your tribe is your vibe is kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah. It's just like, you got to keep winners in your circle. Understand that, like, like you said, people go through bad times. People have their ups, people have their downs, but you really need a solid group of people to like keep you grounded, honestly, is the best way to explain it. Just because, with those up and downs, it's like you need those people who could pick you up, but not like, if like you're saying, like you smoke every now and then, you know what I'm saying? You smoke every day, but like
every day, probably twice a day.
There are people who can like pull you into that, where it's just like, now you want to just like use that to mend everything. You could have people in your circle like that, and you have to also be able to identify like what people you need to have around you.
And absolutely. And what purpose not only do they serve for you, which is secondary to what purpose are they serving for themselves and their family.
100%.
Like I always say, the way somebody treat their parents and treat their family that I can visually see, or I hear you talk to your parents, I'm going to know all I need to know about you, or at least
100%.
A lot of what I need to know about you off the dribble.
No, 100%. Let's circle back. So we talked about VISI, Suave All-Stars, Apparel All-Stars. Let's talk about this. Heaven's Battalion. Let's get into it. Tell me about that.
So Heaven's Battalion is pretty much standing for Guardian Angels. A battalion is just a brigade of soldiers, a small unit. I think it's under 3,000 would be the exact terminology, but it really just stands for Guardian Angels and having an army of angels above. I feel like I made this brand for anybody who feels like they lost somebody who's gained their wings and now protects them. Like I said earlier in the interview, I lost a lot of people growing up, both family and family friends. And, when you're younger, it doesn't really hit you the same way until I lost my cousin who was 15. He got killed on the steps of Garfield, the Memorial Rock back there. When I lost Quincy, that kind of stripped me of all of the childhood ignorance, I guess I would say, to like questions, like, questioning God and wondering like how this can happen, and having some like real violent dark thoughts at a young age. I kind of like wasn't a kid anymore essentially when that happened. My innocence was kind of stripped in that scenario, I would say. And so from there, it's been a big part in my life just to give a lot of homage to the people who I've lost, who I feel like protect me. I can start naming off a lot of people: my Uncle James, my cousin Quincy, my grandparents, all these people. But like I said, I really created that brand just so that I could honor them, but also honor everybody else who feels like they have an angel above them who watches out. Because I've been in a lot of situations that I feel like, I've had people watching out for me, and that not just life-threatening, but like even being in this industry and being around snakes and, dealing with people who have very ill intentions, and 100%. Seeing how shicey this shit can get. Like, I feel like I've had those angels above me. So this brand, that HB and those wings and that halo, just stands for anybody who feels like they have somebody above them with that halo and those wings.
For sure. 1 second, guys. I got to pause it again. Alrighty, we're back. I don't know how I'm going to fucking seam these together, but it's going to work. Okay, so you mentioned your cousin Quincy a lot, but I kind of want to dive into it because, like you're saying, like you've had a lot of family members pass, but like on a lot of your stuff, that's who you see. Because I swear you dropped that Suave collection. You did one for Quincy too, right?
So the Midnight Rider hoodie had his Q star, which I'll stand up real quick, I guess, which is right here. It had his Q star on the hood. That wasn't a public drop though, so I never do any public drops with his Q star and halo on there, because I feel like that's like a family thing for me and my family friends. So for anybody who knows me very well, I feel like are a good fit, you know what I'm saying, to wear that.
Yeah.
But on no public drops do I ever do, and sorry for the voice crack, on no public drop do I ever use the Q star, but definitely in everything personal of mine and a lot of samples and things like that, he's definitely featured on there because I feel like I have him with me.
100%. What influence would you say that he had on you? Because how old were you when he passed?
I was 9, so I've lived longer on this earth without him here than I think it's been 14 years as of this October 31st. It was like 9:30 p.m. when he got shot on Halloween, 2008. So I remember that very vividly. But yeah, I mean, I would say the biggest part he played is one in my goofiness for sure, like because he was hilarious.
For sure.
Anybody who knows Quincy, who's from the Central District area or around that area and was around back then, like even like Oopie knows him, you know, all the young dudes that grew up in the CD too, they were kind of around before we got violently pushed out of our neighborhood by gentrification. Before that, you know, he was a really bright light in the community, and you know, he was well known for the street side of things for sure, but he was also just well known as who he was as a person. So, you know, I would say that his sense of humor, his goofiness for sure. I feel like the swag, like the charisma, I feel like he was very charismatic, and I feel like as I got older, I was really bold when I was a kid. So like I was talking at a really young age and talking about going to Harvard and doing all these things like that my family would like, you know, not promote, but I would promote, and they would like be like, "Oh, Nick is crazy. He's like Jerry Maguire." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like one of those kids, you know? And so I feel like the charisma that I have now, like grown, like in the kind of swag, I guess, that comes with it, or just the way I talk and like kind of my mannerisms and stuff like that, I feel like he definitely played a big part in too. So I feel like a lot of the most natural things about it kind of absorbed into me just because he was one of my favorite older cousins, and I always used to try and chase him, Gusto, Jamie, Chelsea, all around, and those guys would have to run around the house, sneak out the back to go do what they do in the CD, and you know what I mean, all those things. And so I feel like that a lot of that kind of got absorbed into me when he passed, and just kind of grew as I grew.
For sure. We didn't say this on camera, but you mentioned that, like, you know, sometimes you just break down randomly, like, you know, when any day, you know, it's been 14 years, like, what advice would you give to someone who's just going through grief and, you know, like the process of grief? Because like you said, 14 years, like what advice would you give to someone who's going through something like that?
I would say, you know, for me, when Quincy got killed, he was 15. He was a freshman at Garfield High School when he was murdered at the high school. And I think that, you know, I went through a really dark place for a long time with that and just kind of like my outlook on things. But I would say that the real way to honor somebody, and I feel like my personal advice would really be to just wake up every day and go hard as fuck for that person, because you got breath. You know what I mean? Every day you wake up is a new opportunity for real, and it's really easy to get lost in that when you're trying to hustle or you want something. Like, you know, everybody, especially we got to compete with our phones. So we go on our phones, we go on Instagram, social media. This motherfucker's up in 50,000. That motherfucker's up in 100,000. This motherfucker got the Monte Carlo or G-Body I want. I like older cars over newer cars. You know what I mean? These things just in general. So it's really easy to get frustrated and kind of get upset or feel like you're not moving fast enough or you don't have enough of this or that. But in all reality, like the more that you can just wake up and, you know, try and honor them and try and represent them in a positive light, I feel like for me, that's what gave me a lot of sanity, is just knowing that, you know, I want to create scholarships in his name as I get older that reach back to Garfield and, you know, displaced members of the Central District community and community members that live there, you know, no discrimination against that. So just, you know, doing things that honored his name in a positive light. Because when he got killed, the media, Seattle media, tried to murder his character.
100%.
Just because he, you know, was associated with street activities. They absolutely tried to murder his character.
And that's how it is everywhere, right?
Absolutely.
You know, like
when
like
you're a young black man who dies, for sure.
And like you were saying just before, like a lot of the characteristics outside of what he, you know, the media tried to shine on him is what, you know, you loved about him. And it's unfortunate that, like, you know, not everyone gets to see those things, but I'm happy that like you can continue to like look at it that way, because you know you were still young.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you was like with that shit your whole life. You know, you might have been, but you know,
I was around it. I would
No, for
say
sure.
I'm the last person to ever sit here and claim that I was a thug or I'm saying anything like that. But I definitely grew up around them, and I know how to spot them, and I know how to spot the ones that's fake. That's for sure.
Shit. I don't know. I don't know.
You know?
But like, no, it's nice that like, you know, even at a young age you were able to like strip that. You know, he was beyond just this, but still hip to the game. Like, oh, I know, but you know, that's filthy. I'm sorry, obviously, like,
Oh, yes,
I never knew like the full story of that. Like, obviously, going to Garfield, like, I see the memorial in the back of the school, but like I don't know too much about everything. But like I feel like for as long as I've known you, that's been a big part of you as well. So like, definitely sorry for your loss, and I'm happy that like you said, you go hard every day and you do what you got to do and you put that hustle on. I'm fucking with it, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
So I guess I feel like there was more that I wanted to talk about, but I'm missing it. So we talked about BISI, Suave All Stars, Apparel All Stars, Heaven's Battalion. What do you have next in the works?
So my biggest goal right now is really just kind of growing my client base, not only with the embroidery, but as a consultant. So athletes, artists, entertainers, I've spent a lot of time both sourcing embroidery, sourcing screen print, sourcing blanks, just kind of amassing all these resources and kind of gaining an expertise by fucking up and doing it myself.
Yeah.
Taking wins and fucking up, you know what I mean? It comes with both. So I've really spent a lot of time trying to go in depth and learn the industry for real and understand how important merch is and branding is, because I feel like they're two different things. A lot of people just kind of culminate them into one. Merch is more of a representation of your brand, like, you know, or your, like what, you know, made you music, your athletes, more around that, where a brand has some root and some kind of separate entity, you know, where it's created. But learning about both of those processes, my goal is really just to gain more clients and kind of gain more rep as a merchandising consultant. And that's why I do both sides of the industry, both doing production myself with embroidery and doing brand work myself. So my end goal, I'm 24 right now. I just turned 24 in October 16th. So going into 25, 26, and 27 is going to be real heavy on expanding the embroidery business and also just bringing in clients so I could in-house the embroidery, but also help with the screen printing process.
For sure.
Help with, you know, these different things and kind of amass my portfolio.
For sure. How do you get a lot of your like clients and stuff? Because I feel like you're like fairly low key. Like, where can people find you at? You know, how do they tap in with you? Is it through the DMs? You got an email? Like, you know, how do people reach you?
Definitely through the DM is an easy one. Nick Suave is my main Instagram. So NickSuav and then 3 E's. The Apparel All Stars Insta is my business page. You can also DM me through there. However, I do message back faster on my personal page.
For sure.
I'm trying to get better at that, but
it's hard. You got a lot of stuff going on. You know what I'm saying?
And Instagram needs to bring back message notifications, because that was a big thing. Like, I don't get them from my business page at all, so I really have to go check through all my pages to see.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, but I would say there. Email is nicksuave@gmail.com. That's another good route. I am probably one of the most low-key people in the city when it comes to like what we're talking about and what 100%. I do. Not really the kind of person that likes to go out there and talk myself up.
Here's my business card. Just so you guys know, I do embroidery. Oh, I like your stuff. Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, you know, you'll catch me in certain spaces and people who know, or they find out about me through friends.
For sure.
Aaliyah just put me on with a client, you know, so shout out to them.
Come on.
We got work coming, but you know, I think that the biggest thing has honestly been I've been really blessed to be myself in some really cool spaces that I never thought I'd be in.
Sure.
And, I want to give a huge shout out to my brother Jalen Noel, who plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves, true Garfield Bulldog. Come on. One of my best friends, you know, one of my closest friends. And I think that being around him, being able to kind of take me through a lot of different avenues and being in different spaces when he was at UW and him being in the league has definitely expanded my mindset, not only on how to interact with these people, but just to, I guess, push myself and my intellect in those spaces. And I feel like that's what's got me a lot of confidence. Also, a big shout out to my brother Motts Benson, who runs Showroom LA, the Showroom LA.
Come on.
Down in Torrance, California, right outside of LA. It's like I always say it's like Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory for sneakers and high-end apparel.
I gotta tap in.
Yeah, my boy got a warehouse. He got a basketball hoop on the inside, like a little mini court, all kinds of stuff. Zion Williamson shops with him. I can start rattling people off. A lot of different people shop with my brother. He gives me a lot of confidence. He's blessed me with the opportunity to get work on Devin Haney, Paulo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, different Armando Bacot, who played for North Carolina, different people like that. He gave me the opportunity when he did a Vegas pop-up shop at the Bellagio. He did a week. He had a penthouse. And
I remember. I think I seen that on Instagram.
Yeah, we were out there. And so he gave me the opportunity to do a limited run of hoodies that were about 2.5 hours per placement on the back. There was like 69,000 stitches, 70,000 stitches. Damn. So it took about 2 hours per hoodie to embroider just one spot on the back, bigger placement. And when he gave me that opportunity, that's how I got work to Devin Haney, which that hoodie didn't fit him, so we have to do another one for him, and he gave it to India Love Westbrook, who's his partner, his girlfriend. So,
come on.
Yeah, so that was dope. So just, people like that, from Jalen bringing me in these rooms and me being able to travel with him and our brothers Aaron and Olanda and, people like that, and being able to be in those spaces and interact, and then being able to get work to people and also interact and be in these spaces through my brother, like Mott's. That's definitely big for sure. Mott's is also the one who was able to allow me to do the hat for Jamal Crawford, which we're still trying to get to you, Maul. If you see this, we got it for you. It's good. We got it. So we did a Rainier Beach inspired Mariners for him. So.
I'm trying to see what's that.
Yeah, the orange and white. Yep.
That's exciting. It seems like you just got like a lot of stuff coming, low key, just doing everything that you need to do. I'm excited. I hope all that stuff that you are talking about, like in 3 months, I hope it pops off. I know it will. So. Cause you working, and I know it will. I think that's all I want to talk about today, but hold on, let's see, because the shit want to freaking cut off. All right, we're good. Okay, so I don't know if you've listened to my podcast before, but the last couple things I do is the song of the day and then your flowers. So I'm gonna let you go first because I never fucking know every time I do this.
Okay.
Who do you want to give your flowers to? You shout everybody out, but anyone else?
Should I name everybody, or can I just say the gang?
We got time. You do what you want, bro.
All right, I'm gonna just say shout out to the family, shout out to the gang. You feel me? Sure. We do not participate in any criminal activities. So when I say the gang, it's not just the squadron. Reference.
Yeah, come on.
It's the squadron. Salute to all my brothers, all my real good sisters. Like, anybody who knows me and really talks to me on a day-to-day basis, or not even a day-to-day basis because we're grown. So it's like, sometimes you can't talk like that. But, everybody who's really tapped in with me knows who's really tapped in with me. Sure. So I would just say salute to all my peoples. And, when I say that, I don't want to miss nobody. It's not a sea of people, but I got a lot of family, so they would be mad if I didn't say. So let me just shout out to my friends, you feel me, my brothers, my people, and then shout out to my, they're my family too. They're like my blood, no difference, but shout out to my blood family as well. All my older cousins, all my younger cousins, all my aunts, uncles. I got a lot of family. So I'd name like 45 people right now, including blood, like, what I'm saying, if I sat here. So
flowers to all you guys.
Flowers to all of them, because I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for them.
Come on, Nick. Yes. What's your song of the day?
My song of the day right now is Down Bad by Zoe Osama, because it got me dancing again. So
give me a little snippet. What does it sound like? Because I don't know.
No, can we play it?
No, I'm not trying to hear you sing it.
No, you see that?
I don't know that song, but
it's got a lot of profanity. It's LA music, but it's real tapped into the culture down there. Zoe's going crazy. He's tough. But if not that, then Jumbotron Shit Poppin' by Drake, because of the bar. My doggy don't smoke on shit unless it's unleaded. We only smoke gas. If you have booth, please don't even bring it around me. Because I will tell you, your weed is garbage. Even if I don't see it, I can taste it in the blunt. I work in the cannabis space, so.
This man be smoking.
So if not Down Bad by Zoe Osama, then it's Jumbotron Shit Poppin' by Drake in 21.
Okay.
Right now, yeah. What about you? What's your song of the day?
My song of the day, I just never fucking know, bro. Like, I listen to such old shit. I listen to like fucking Neo Soul all damn day.
Hell yeah.
And I feel like I said this before, but I don't know if I didn't. The Truth by India Ari. That shit's fire. I just fuck with music that really make me feel something nice, like that. I feel like I can relate to. So that song's popping.
Right.
My flowers are definitely gonna go to Loretta over at Steez. He mentioned it, the work
My
that,
client,
come
one of my
on,
new clients.
yes. I brought them together, and honestly, she's guns blazing right now. She's trying to tap in. She's taking off. And I'm saying it like it's just her. It's me, too. Like, you know, I'm tapped in with her, too. But I definitely want to give her flowers, you know, like starting a business like we've already just talked about this whole episode. Fucking shit. I fucking hate this. Oh, there's this little kid just staring right here.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. It's okay.
He's beaming.
It's cool. I fuck with it. But she's been putting a lot of work in, and it's all coming together. She's having an event on the 10th. I hope you can come. Are you busy December 10th?
December 10th? I don't think so. I think I can come.
Yes. I hope you guys can
I don't
come.
think I'm going to be out of town. We pushed back the overseas trip to spring, so.
That guy. He's just that guy. Just overseas trip. But yes, December 10th, she's having an event. If you guys want to tap in, look up dasteez.thebrand on Instagram. That's DASTEEZ.thebrand. But she's doing her thing. We're doing our thing. I keep trying to like downplay myself.
Yeah, Aaliyah's being very modest right now too. She's
I'm on my Nick shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I just like to be low key. I just like to move until, you know, when you see it, you see it.
Right.
But just know it's coming. But she's putting in a lot of work. We're putting in a lot of work. So I'm excited about that.
Also, salute to Loretta because she has her shit together.
She do.
For real.
She really do. And like she's doing this just off the whim of just like learning as she goes and taking in all the games she can get. Because I don't know how the fuck she knows all this shit either. Because fuck, that shit was stressful. All that shit's stressful. We definitely could have talked about more shit now that I'm thinking about it. But it's okay.
Shit,
it's okay.
We can still go. I got
Fuck,
time.
shit. I'm trying to think. We might have to just run it a second time.
It's good.
We can run it a second time.
Yeah.
Fucking, there's just so much going on outside. Yes, so I think that's it. I'm fucking with it. Is there anything else you want to say before we cut out?
Yeah, so I'll say one of the last things that I'd probably get off my chest or would want to say, like when we talked about giving game to the youth or talking to little me or, you know, little Leah, whoever, I would say that when you plant those seeds, you know, and you're expecting the fruit, just understand that you're going to have to do many things in the way of eating that fruit from when you planted those seeds to make your tree grow the right way. And when I say that, it sounds really mystical and like on some like old man wisdom type shit. But what that means is just understand that you have to be fluid. You know, Bruce Lee said be like water, you know, because it's shapeless. It can take on the container of whatever it goes in. When you're maneuvering through this, you have to start somewhere. Start watching those YouTube videos and interviews with pioneers in the space or people that you look up to and you feel like you can admire and align yourself with moral values, the right moral values and principles. Those are important too. Having something that roots yourself to you as a person as you're trying to navigate through these spaces for two reasons. One, because you're going to need to adapt as you grow
100%.
And learn how to do different things. I did not know how to do 99% of the shit that I know how to do now when I started, you know what I'm saying? And that comes from fuck ups. It comes from wins, you know, it comes from experiences in between. Sometimes it's not just a up and a down. Sometimes it's a middle, you know, stagnation, or maybe it's not stagnant, but you feel like you're stuck in a rut or stuck in a place. You know, I feel like that's important. And two, because if you don't have an idol or idols that you feel like you can align morals and principles with, it's real easy to get lost trying to adapt to this space that we're in and that we're trying to grow into.
For sure.
Because everybody will absolutely, not everybody, but a large portion of people who are not real will sell their soul and their whole image and identity just to conform to what they think will make them blow up.
100%.
In any industry.
Just had to talk about this.
You know, clothes, R&B, rap, doesn't
Dance,
matter.
anything.
Sports, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, as you get money, that's going to just make you more who you already are. And, you know, I think that that's like something that's very important, is to know that like you need strong morals and principles. You need things to tie you to yourself and who your family knows you as, you know, who you are in reality, not just on this internet shit. And, you know, I think that have the confidence, you know what I'm saying, to really step like and have the confidence to really go out and try. Some of my drops flop. Sometimes I don't get orders, you know.
For sure.
That's a real thing. Like, you could sit here and, you know, a lot of people will sit here and act like everything they drop sells out, or they don't end up with back stock, or
it's not realistic.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, some of your shit will flop. Like, some of your shit might not do any numbers at all. You might have to take a loss. You might just give out items, you know, but just make it count and, you know, and understand that everything is a learning lesson. You know, a lot of people that are really, really big in the branding space say that their real hit wasn't until their third, fourth brand idea that they didn't really hit some, really hit a home run. So
for sure,
I feel like that's really important, just to stay grounded in yourself, stay grounded in your vision, and, have the confidence to step in that, because you never know until you know. Like,
you never know until you know. I was fucking with that. That was a word. Hold on, guys. I just want to make sure before I start talking. Okay, yes. What the fuck? Hold on. I hope it still works. I think it does.
Oh, if the screen shut down.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we're good.
We live. Well, I just wanted to say thank you for coming on. I don't know if I talked about it. I think I tapped on it, but Nick is very overlooked, like a lot. Like, I feel like I resonate with that a lot too, and that's why I see you.
Mm-hmm.
But I just really appreciate you coming and giving word, because even though you are overlooked a lot of the time, your presence makes a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Your words make a difference. You was putting me on game as we were talking. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every time I talk to you, I learn something new. I gain more knowledge, and that's priceless, honestly. You know what I'm saying? I just hope that you keep going. You stay true to yourself, just because it could be hard. You can lose yourself a lot in the space we're
Absolutely.
in, but also just being overlooked, it gets hard. So I hope that as you grow in the next 3 months, when you really get popping, you really do stay true to yourself. That's really
my mama and my older cousins would slap the dog shit out of me if I tried to superstar some shit going forward. So
and that's what's up though.
Stay grounded. That's all I say.
And
have people who can keep you grounded.
That's what I was just about to say. When you got that family, when you got people who keep you in check,
Yep.
Real recognize real. You surround yourself with that, you're set.
Yep.
You're good. But I think that's it. I'm fucking with it. I'm fucking with the whole episode, honestly. I'm going to have Nick run it back, just because I feel like this is only an hour. And there's, like I said, there's so much more that I know I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to give it a separate thing. I feel like this episode was more like the man behind the business and the hustle. But, you're beyond that. You know what I'm saying? You're a person outside of your business and, the stuff we talked about. So I want to give it its own episode, its own flowers, its own grace. But I appreciate you coming on. That's it. This is Aaliyah, and you're listening to No Pressure, Just Vibes. And we're going to vibe out next time.
Should I show them the suit?
Yeah, come on. Give it a little hit real quick. Yeah, you see this? You see the whole thing? Yeah, Nick did this whole thing. Nick is that guy. Oh, damn, this shit hard. 4 fucking hours. Look at this guy. This man is that guy, okay? And when you see Nick in the streets, he made the outfit. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Aaliyah. I appreciate. Hey, she really be giving me some confidence.
100% of the time. I'm hyping all my homies up. What the fuck? If I'm hyping you up, just know it's real. Because I'm not a hater necessarily, but if
your shit weak.
Yeah, I just would rather not say anything.
Then get back to the drawing board, because you can get better.
Yep, because 3-4 drops, like he said. It's okay, you'll get there. And
the first designs that I ever did before I had clothes was weak as fuck. So that's
me too. I can't even have the courage to step into this shit, because I'm fucking the shit's weak. But yes, I fuck with you, bro. I'm super excited. So
much
peace
love.
out, y'all.
Thank you.